I've decluttered this IKEA unit many times over the years, but I've never tried to actually move it, and that might have been the problem. This IKEA unit was bought from the As Is section of IKEA in 2007. It has lived in this exact space in our home since that time. And it has become a catch-all for all sorts of items. From kitchen overflow to special occasion things, to my kids' fun activities like their cotton candy machine. But ultimately, I felt that this unit was causing the whole space to feel very visually cluttered and overwhelming. Definitely not the calm space I was going for. But what I didn't anticipate as we emptied out this unit was how much work was going to be involved. From extra cleaning to decluttering and reorganizing other rooms in our home, this became a big mess. Now, luckily I had my partner in crime, John, to help me with dismantling the IKEA unit and moving some of the heavier furniture, because a project like this is not for one person alone. Anytime you're moving furniture, you're going to end up with a domino effect, where there's going to be additional cleaning, reorganizing, decluttering possibly other spaces. It's just what it is. So be prepared for that domino effect. If you're wondering where all the items from the unit ended up, it was along my couch here, as you can see, and also a lot of it ended up on my dining room table. So the mess is already building at this point. Because we were going to be repurposing the IKEA unit in the playroom and not just removing it from our home entirely, we then had to clear out the playroom space to make room to move the IKEA unit in. This created a whole extra layer of work. I try my very best to keep our home as dust-free as possible, although you wouldn't believe it by looking at this. But it's unbelievable how fast it can build up. And this is something we all need to keep in mind, is that everything we own, even if it's something we absolutely love, is going to attract dust. So everything we own, from little items to bigger items, all brings with it a certain level of work and cleaning. And we have to ask ourselves, is that what we want to devote our time to? Do we love this piece or this knick-knack so much that we're willing to dust it and move it and take care of it? Is that how we want to spend our time? Okay, so now we're back upstairs for more cleaning and clearing out in the playroom. So as you can see, even the tiniest of spaces can hold so many items. My kids are drowning in Lego, much like many families, and that makes them happy. They don't consider Lego clutter, so we are just going to make all of this work. If you're wondering where all that Lego went, it's now over here. And we're going to clear out this back cubby area where my son has some craft items and just open up that space so he can use it as a little hideout. Sometimes decluttering and organizing can turn into a domino effect where rearranging one section of your home almost forces you to rearrange another section of your home. If you are a beginner, don't get into making a huge mess. Please try to do one shelf or drawer at a time. I'm a little more experienced. I'm okay with this mess, sort of. So what I'm discovering is that there's just dust everywhere in this room. So I'm definitely tackling this while the opportunity presents itself, but also trying to stay focused as much as possible on the actual project I'm working on, which is moving items and decluttering and getting the spaces back to where they should be. Just a little pencil on the walls. It's okay. Okay, so right here has become a catch-all for my son's craft supplies, and it's just messy. It's hard for him to access. So we're going to reorganize them with my trusty dollar store washing bins into this unit behind me. You can access them more easily and actually create art. This bin is going to be a go for us just because I don't know why they were popular for quite a while, but because they're not super easy to use once they get full or anything like that. Holy, really collects dust on the sides here. Gross. So I just don't think that we need to keep this rickety piece anymore. So at this point, I'm just reorganizing my son's arts and crafts supplies. And at this stage of my life, I'm not so much interested in aesthetics as I am in function. So these bins might not be pretty, they might not be something you see on Instagram, but they work for us, and that's what matters to me at this stage of my life. I want our home to work for us, and that's more important to me than everything being pretty. Okay, so I've noticed that along with the plastic drawer unit that I am getting rid of, I have collected a lot of sort of random bits and bobs of storage solutions in this playroom, and it's not super functional. I'm trying to get everything in one place for my son, so we're going to hopefully make that work. But yeah, so he's got activity books here, he's got activity books there. We're not going to do any detailed decluttering right now just because my kids aren't here. I like to have them help so that they can practice their decluttering skills. And so for right now, I'm just putting things away, but I'll have my kids go through it later. So you can see here that my son's bin for activity books is pretty much overflowing. So this would be an easy way to show him that it's time to go through them and declutter the ones that are full or that he doesn't love. This is a clear physical boundary to him for where he can keep his books. I wanted to give you a peek behind the camera so that you can see that I also create a bit of mess when I'm decluttering, and this is totally normal when you're tackling a big project. So far, these are the items that are leaving the playroom, including a stack of books and notebooks my daughter is getting rid of, and a box of garbage. Not so many items yet, but once my kids go through again, maybe there will be more. This is the messy middle of decluttering. And so I'm just going to sort through these items one step at a time. this is what the room looks like at the moment. My son's desk down there, their Lego display. Okay, so at this point we've done a lot of work in the playroom, and we're going to pop back downstairs to the dining room now. If you can believe it, the work's not done. Okay, so decluttering and organizing the unit in the living room has made a bit of a mess behind me here. So if you end up, while you're decluttering, tackling a project, in a sort of mess situation, this is what you can do. Break the mess up into manageable chunks or categories. So for here, on this table that's covered in everything, rather than try and look at all of it at once, I'm just going to focus on putting away the dishes. And then I'm going to focus on one more thing after that. So little steps at a time to tackle the mess. Okay, so this unit has been emptied. This is where my daughter used to display all of her Lego. We've since moved it up to the playroom. I'm going to put in items that I think would better belong in a dining room. So our wedding china and items like that. We do definitely use our wedding china pretty regularly. I know some people don't, and it's an easy thing for them to declutter. But for us, we use it a lot and we enjoy using it. So that's a keep for us, and that's okay. Everyone is going to have different ideas of what they want to keep when they're decluttering. So I'm going to tidy this up, clean it up, put things away, and then tackle the rest of the mess on the table here. Okay, so this is the after of this cabinet. Because the doors can close, these items won't be collecting as much dust as they were on the other unit. So that'll definitely be nice. Okay, so I've tackled the dining room. Most of the changes happened in this cabinet over here. And then we moved this painting from the playroom to here. I'm going to have my husband hang it, and it might be slightly too big for this space, but I like it, and we'll see if we can make it work. The funny thing about this whole project was that I have kept the IKEA unit in our living room, mostly because of all the kitchen overflow that was in it. But then I realized while working on this that we've decluttered our kitchen so much over the last few years that we didn't need the overflow. Okay, so I feel that moving that huge unit really did change this space. It just feels a lot more calm in here. And I really like it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Even though there's a lot of Lego on this unit, the color in this room just feels fun and whimsical to me, and I think this just works a lot better. So same piece of furniture, different location, totally different vibe in my opinion. So you saw the transformations in the living room, dining room, and playroom, and maybe you didn't think you saw a lot leaving, but these are all of the items for my midway of the 30-day minimalism challenge, and it adds up quite quickly. As part of this project, I did a lot more reorganizing than I usually do. So for example, one item that came out of the toy library, or two items, were these puzzles, and they, along with some other items, helped to make room for the Legos the kids wanted to keep. These puzzles are not even opened, so that's a little bit sad and silly that we had them stored away, but my friend is really excited to get these. One of the rules of the 30-day minimalism game is to remove the items the same day. I don't subscribe to that rule because I think it is actually really motivating to see it pile up a little bit and take it in a few loads rather than making your life more difficult with daily trips to the donation center. It's a hard enough job already. This is our progress so far. I'm honestly shocked we're still finding items to part with, so this is great. Okay, now I think I might just sit down and relax for a bit.